Let's go back to where this all starts in the Bible. And if you go all the way back to Genesis, when God created Adam, the reason why God made Adam was to take care of the land. He gave him a calling, he gave him work. Then from there came woman.
So what God said when he made Eve was, I will make a helpmate suitable for you. I'm going to make somebody to help you achieve your job.
Some people might think submission as I have to relent everything to this person. Right. I am less than. I don't have an equal right in this.
The definition of submission is that as a woman, you see your role and your responsibility and your goal in life is to further and help your husband in his vision. And God created Eve as a helper to Adam. He didn't create Adam as a helper to Eve. And that's not to say your husband can't help you with things. And of course he should, but your role in the marriage is to help him. You know, because when you're single, you can have your own goal. Like, oh, I want to be a nurse, or I'm going to go to school and I'm going to do this. But once you get married and now you're under this new order, you fall into a new responsibility. Welcome back to another episode of the Married with the Mujicas podcast. We are Richard and Haley Mujica. We've been married for 12 years. We've got 4 small kids. We've got a business. We love life, love each other, love marriage, and that's what we're here for.
That's right.
So, babe, what is our slogan on this show? Do you remember it?
Yes. Coming home.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Dude, I freaking nailed it so many times.
Okay,
now I forget it.
You just have to know. This is our 3rd time recording this episode because of technical issues.
Yes.
And the first 2 times, Richard knew.
I nailed it.
Richard knew the slogan.
I nailed it so good.
And then you
forgot.
forgot.
So it's building a marriage that you love coming home to.
Yes.
See,
there you go.
Yeah.
Building a marriage.
I mean, it takes a second.
Yes.
We just had this thing. My IQ is a little low. So just things hit me. Takes a little bit longer, as you know, to think.
Okay. Richard does process very slowly. So you'll say something to him and you like, wait. And you wait and you're like, okay, are you thinking or did you not hear me? And then he'll answer you. But it's because you have so much going on in your head all the time. Not because your IQ is low. It's just because you have so much going on. It takes you a minute to sift through and find the answer.
Oh my gosh, you might be right.
I am right. But so, like I said, this is our 3rd time recording this episode due to technical issues with cameras or audio or I don't even know what. So on the last episode, we talked about the 10 top things that couples argue about. And we kind of just went into those things. But what was really interesting about that is as we were doing our research for the podcast and we were using ChatGPT to figure out what those 10 things were, we have individual episodes on every single one of those topics. So in last week's episode was just kind of like quick little commentary on each one.
Yeah.
And then if you need more in-depth, you can find
it's amazing. We have full guides on it, on all of them.
On all of them.
Literally
so that was pretty cool.
It was wild. Yes.
That was pretty cool. That just happened. But anything fun going on in your world before we get into today's topic?
Oh, a lot of fun stuff. There's always a lot of fun stuff.
There's always fun stuff.
Kids going crazy, sporting events. Right now it's kind of football world. And so we're getting deep into football. We've had 2 games. We're looking pretty good. Both teams are looking pretty good.
Yeah.
The girls are now doing cheerleading, so that's keeping us, relatively busy.
So cute.
And we're just kind of preparing for football season. No vacations, no time off.
Yes, is it.
This is the serious mode. This is where like the Mujicas get serious, and we do it for about 4 months, and then after that we can go back to
a little more relaxed.
Yeah, a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah, I actually made the decision this year that I've always decorated for fall and harvest. And,
oh my gosh.
But I've decided because it's such a big part of our family culture and something that we love so much, I'm actually going to start decorating for football season. So I'm still going to do like the pumpkins.
It's a great idea.
It's so cute. So I'm still going to do the pumpkins and the leaves and stuff. But I went like...
You're going gung-ho.
I'm going full focus on we are celebrating football season.
This is the year that we're going to make it a tradition.
Yeah, and it's just going to be something that we do, and I'm actually really excited about it. And it'll be slow accumulation because it's actually kind of hard to find pretty football decor.
Yeah, although you found some cool stuff.
I have found some cute stuff.
It was actually very, very pretty. And in fact, I think people are starting to catch on like, oh, fall is football season. Like they have a lot of stuff out there.
Oh, yeah.
That you can grab. Now you just got to find the pretty stuff.
Yes, and so what's hard is a lot of the times when you look for football decor, you're finding like boys' bedroom stuff, and I'm wanting stuff for my house, which is probably a little bit less common, but
we'll find it.
It's been super fun, and it just feels like appropriate for us. It feels like who we are. So
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so that's been fun. The kids have been busy. Work's been busy. We started school this week.
You started school. Wow.
Man, so I'm like, this is
Dude.
my first year with 4 students, and
Are you feeling the heat?
I'm feeling the heat a little bit. It's been fun, but like, man, it can be a long day for me. The kids, it's
I'm
like, you
sure.
know, each individual takes whatever
Oh,
they
I'm
take,
sure.
but getting all 4 of them in.
So just for the audience, real quick, how do you spread the time? So you do hour? Like how do you do it?
Oh no. So we start all together, and so we
Yeah.
do our Bible, history, science, and then we have some just like conversation cards that we do all together.
Yeah.
And then the boys I have taking a typing class.
Yes.
So the boys will leave, do their typing class, while I'll just focus on the girls and do the girls' individual
That's smart.
lessons or whatever.
Perfect.
And then the girls are dismissed and the boys come down for their individual lessons. So the girls, I mean, their whole school day is probably no more than 2 hours.
Yeah, which
From-
is that's a good amount of time for girls.
I mean
they're tiny.
from the start of Bible till the time they're off the table.
Yeah, that's great.
And then the boys is probably closer to 3 or 4
Nice.
altogether.
Cool. I like
Yeah,
it.
That's been really fun. But today's topic is a good one.
Yes.
It's a really good one. It's
Yes.
a really touchy one because I think it's a really misunderstood concept. But I think it's
Yeah.
actually really beautiful and a really significant blessing in a marriage if it's just embraced.
It's the most beautiful. In my
really
opinion.
is.
It is. Yeah, it
So
is.
do you want to tell the people what we're talking about today? Tell the
Well,
people what we're talking about.
Let's drop the bomb. Drop the bomb on me. So today we're going to talk about God's high headship of the home and how it's designed in the Bible on where, here comes the word, where the wife is in submission to the husband, right?
Yep.
And the husband is in submission to God.
Yes.
And how that hierarchy works, you know, why it's designed like that, how we follow it, and why we believe that this design that God made is so beautiful, and why we do think it's very misrepresented and not understood.
Yes.
And there's a lot of connotations around submission. It's kind of a dirty
It's a
word.
dirty word,
It's
yeah.
a dirty word that you know. But to your point, I think it's just not understood. And I think hopefully this podcast brings clarity to that word, and it encourages other homes out there to keep, you know, fighting the good fight, or, you know, maybe you want to adopt a different model.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Pastor Josh Howerton says that the command in the Bible for a wife to submit to her husband is the second most controversial command in the Bible for our culture.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What is the first?
The first is anything related to homosexuality.
Oh, that's right.
People
Okay.
get very
Yes.
offended
Yeah.
and very uncomfortable with that, and submission is second.
Woo, buddy.
Yeah. So we're going to go there. We're going to talk about it.
Get it.
So let's just start here. How would you say I do in submitting to you? How would you rate my performance there?
I would say you are like the ringleader in that field. Like, I think you do such a good job at it. And I think that you take pride in it. And I think it's part of your identity as a biblical wife, as somebody that fears God, as somebody that wants to be led as well. Like, I think you are the depiction of it.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm dead serious. Like, if anybody wants to model it, I would say you are a great person to model, because you allow me to be a man. And I think that's why it's almost designed like that. Like, if you follow this design, the woman is able to be the woman and the man is able to be the man.
Yes, it really does bring out the beauty of the femininity and the masculinity. Both are really beautiful.
Yes. Yes.
But I'm thrilled to hear you say that, but I'm kind of surprised because I do have a very strong feisty side. And
Yeah, but that's part of it.
okay, I want to hear more about that, because sometimes I feel guilty, like, oh my gosh, I'm being too feisty.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we'll get into it for sure.
Okay, I want to
Yeah.
get into that.
But so okay, let's start with this. Let's go back to where this all starts in the Bible, right? And if you go all the way back to Genesis, when God created Adam, first created Adam, right? And God made it very clear that Adam's the reason why God made Adam to take care of the land and to care to it.
He made him with a job.
And yeah, he made him with a job. He gave him a calling. He gave him work. And that was what he was supposed to do. And then from there came woman, right? Now, of course, woman came from Adam, the rib of Adam.
Right. And so what God said when he made Eve was, I will make a helpmate suitable for you.
Exactly.
I'm going to make somebody to help you achieve your job. That was Eve's goal. That was her role. That's why God created her.
That's right. And so if you kind of rewind that, right? If you reverse engineer that, God made Adam. He installed a vision into Adam. It was like, here is your vision, and you are going to go do X, right? Creates Eve as a helper to the vision.
Yes.
It was like, okay, the man needs to carry out this calling, but you need a helper suitable to help you carry out the calling.
Right. He didn't create Eve with her own separate vision.
That's right.
Her vision was his vision.
That's right. By design.
Yes.
And so that's kind of how this comes into play, right? And then, of course, we take that as the headship of our household, and we follow the same design. And so I think that's important to clarify of why and where in the Bible it kind of, talks about this structure. The second thing that I think is important to clarify is, what is the definition of submission? Because there's a lot of different definitions. Some people might think submission as, I have to relent everything to this person.
Right,
I have no say. I am less than. I don't have an equal right in this. Some people have a definition of submission like, dude, submission's not even in the vocabulary. Like, there's no way I'm not going to submit to a man. Like, I'm not going to let him like dictate. So what is the definition of submission in our context, in the biblical context, how you see it?
Yeah. So I would think that you actually said it really beautifully, in that the definition of submission is that as a woman, you see your role and your responsibility and your goal in life is to further and help your husband in his vision. And God created Eve as a helper to Adam. He didn't create Adam as a helper to Eve. And that's not to say your husband can't help you with things. And of course he should, but your role in the marriage is to help him.
That's right.
And so I would say that really is the definition of submission, is the selflessness and the laying down of yourself enough to say that, like, because when you're single, you can have your own goal. Like, oh, I want to be a nurse, or I'm going to go to school and I'm going to do this. But once you get married and now you're under this new order, you fall into a new responsibility.
But how should a woman look at that? Because I could see that a woman could potentially look at that like, man, I'm giving up my way of wanting to do life to this new order.
It is an opportunity to shed selfishness, which is beautiful and really hard and against human nature. And it's part of the curse that Eve fell into when she in the fall, right? It says your desire will be for your husband and he will rule over you. That's part of the curse of Eve, is that she's going to want to take control and the husband gets it. And so you have to let that go, and you can do that gracefully, or you can do it kicking and screaming, but no wife biblically is relieved of the responsibility and the command to submit. And the Bible doesn't say submit to your husband so that he looks really good in front of his friends, or submit to your husband so that he feels really good about himself.
Yeah.
But you know what it does say? This is in Titus 2. It says, submit to your husband so that the word of God will not be blasphemed. It's not about you and it's not about your husband. It's about being a good witness to the word of God that you proclaim to adhere to. It's very serious.
That's right.
If you do it kicking and screaming, or if you refuse to do it, and there's another point here, you are being a poor witness for the God that you claim to love. But then the second thing is, the Bible also doesn't say submit to your husband if he deserves it. If he goes where you want him to go. If he leads you the way he wants. There's no condition to it.
There's no conditions.
You are called to submit. And at the same time, he is called, the second part in Ephesians, where it says, wives, submit to your husbands. And then what does it say? Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church.
Yeah. And honestly, that is a calling of all callings.
Right? So it doesn't end at the woman's call to submit. It goes on to give the husband a call too. And his call is very, very, very difficult. And it requires a ton of selflessness too. So it's not just that he's going to sit there and tell you everything that you need to do and you need to just jump when he says jump and sit when he says sit. If a husband has a lot of wisdom and he has this gift of a wife that was created to help him, he's going to really value her opinion and take that into consideration.
Of course.
But at the end of the day, the decision and the leadership falls to him. And as a wife, when you stand before the Lord one day, you don't have to answer for how your husband led. You have to answer for how you submitted to his leadership.
Yeah, that's right.
And we're all going to have to answer for that.
That's right. That was good.
So that's how I think about submission in a way that makes it beautiful. And really, it makes it a joy to submit to you.
Yeah.
Because it really doesn't have anything to do with you or me. It's my calling from the Lord, whom I claim to love, you know?
It's crazy how everything kind of, because I mean, life is so selfish because you start thinking like, well, I'm doing it because of X. I'm doing it because it makes me better, me. But like you put it perfectly. It doesn't point back to you. It just points back to God. It points back to Christ.
And I know good Christian women who refuse to submit to their husbands because they don't think he deserves it or whatever, and that they're wrong. Like that is a sin. Mm-hmm. It's serious.
It's a tricky one.
It's not though.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that's very simple, but hard to do.
Yeah.
But it's very simple.
Yeah.
It's not.
Well, it's a lot simpler if your husband is also following his command, which is to love his wife like he loved the church and to submit his ways to the Lord.
And that's true. And I do want to go into the husband's responsibility.
It becomes easier. Not saying it lets the wife off the hook, but it's definitely easier if you have a husband that is doing his part.
And
too.
I do want, maybe that should even be a whole separate episode, the leadership piece from your perspective. And we can leave this one about submission, but it is a lot easier if your husband's a good leader.
Yeah.
But it doesn't negate the call either way.
It doesn't negate the call. Now, if we play this out practically, you know, because a lot of people are thinking, well, okay, so your husband makes the decisions. You follow your husband. What does that mean? So does it mean like, okay, so you guys your husband says X, you guys do X, and that's just the way it goes. And so if you're thinking about these questions, so just how it plays out in our household with Haley and I, we talk about everything.
Almost everything.
Almost everything.
Okay, but I'm going to pause 1 second and then I'll let you finish. Yeah. But there are some things that we respect each other enough that we don't have to talk about it, right? Like, I trust you enough financially that like you don't need to talk to me about every investment you're going to make. Yeah. Like, go ahead. Like I have a lot of trust in you.
That's my domain.
That, you know, like,
and in fact, that's a whole nother subject. You don't even know where all the money's at. We got to figure that out.
We do have to figure that out. But like, you don't have to talk everything to death either. And I would really caution wives on that too. Like, make clear what you do want to be included in and what you want to talk about, but it doesn't need to be everything.
You drive yourself crazy.
You'll drive yourself crazy.
You didn't tell me that. You didn't tell me this. It's like tick for tat. It's like, oh, well, you got to, you know.
Yeah, there's
got to be a level of trust to make decisions.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, but go on.
Yeah.
So we talk about a lot of things.
We talk about almost everything. And for 99% of almost everything, we're on the same page.
Yes.
And
maybe it didn't start that way, but we have a conversation, we share our own points of view, and we're able to get there.
Exactly. We might start at 60% there, but then we share the opinion, we share this opinion, we're like, hey, that makes a good point. Oh, I didn't see it from that angle. Okay, I get that. And then it's like we get to the 99.
Yeah.
And then almost all of our decisions are made as a unit.
Almost. And there's been very, very few things where you have had to pull the leadership card. And
you had a good example. I forget what it was, but I think you should bring that example.
Well, I have a couple that I can remember. But for example, one time with this business that you now have, at the time before you started this business, we owned a gym. And you would come to me, the gym wasn't doing great. And you would come to me and you're like, hey, babe, I can either go all in with the gym or I can call this guy and try to do this thing. What do you think I should do?
Yep.
My opinion at the time was, hey, go all in with the gym. And you, in your wisdom, you knew better, or you had a better feeling. And you said, I really think I got to make this call. I really think I got to do this other thing. And that was the right call for our family. I'm really thankful that you did that.
Pulled the trump card.
You pulled the trump card. But like, as a wife, you can have a lot of grace for that too. Because I see a lot of wives who think that if their husband isn't doing what they want them to do, that the husband is wrong. And that's That's not how leadership works, right? Like I shared my opinion, but then at the end of the day, the call is yours.
Yes. And I'm under the impression. Do you want to finish that?
Well, I'll just say, so I think
Okay.
when he does make a decision that's different from your opinion, I think you can have a lot of grace for that and say, okay, if that's what you think and that's where you want to lead our family, let's go.
Yes.
And I think men can get a lot of confidence from that too. Just knowing like, okay, this isn't what Haley wanted, but she believes me enough that she's going to do it, and she's doing it willingly and graciously.
Yes.
And, I think that's a gift you can give your husband, even when you disagree.
I agree with this.
And there's been other things like you had rented we own a commercial building that you rented to a renter that I wasn't comfortable with, but you felt good about it. So and that it might have been a good decision for a time. I don't know. That one is still kind of up in the air, but
yeah.
those are two situations that I can remember where you've had to pull the trump card.
Yeah. It doesn't happen very often.
Doesn't, no.
Yeah. And if there's there's maybe some men watching this, and it is my opinion by God's design that all women to some degree want to be led. They have a core desire to be led. Mm-hmm. And it's where their comfort lies. And they are nurturers. They come alongside really well. Women are like hyper intelligent. I've noticed this across the board. Like the way they think, like for example, when I run things by you, I'm like, dude, I didn't think about it like that, but she's totally right. And you've saved me so many times in business, in relationships. And I even tell every one of my workers, like when it's a big decision, I said, I'm going to talk to my wife, because you just have a different way of having this intuition about what is right. And it's usually always right. So I'm going to caveat that. But if you're a dude and you're like, man, I wish my wife would just let me lead. It's like, oh, she just doesn't let me lead. I would look at that.
Yeah.
Because look, again, I'm going to go back to my earlier statement. A woman has a desire to be led. Now, if she's not letting you lead, there's a reason why. And I would take a look, because I think a lot of men have a cop-out scenario where it's like, I don't want to make this decision, so I'm going to do nothing, and then I'm going to force my wife to have to do it.
Yes.
And then when your wife does that over and over again, she feels like, dude, like I have to do this decision. I have to make this decision.
Which is honestly one of the most unkind things you could do as a husband.
Yes, because your wife's going to do it, and she might not even complain, and she might not say anything. But in the back of her mind, she's losing a little bit of trust. She's losing her ability to say, okay, this dude's like going to take the reins and lead us to the next level, right? Now, as a man, that's a lot of pressure, but that is your calling. That is why God put you here,
Yes.
to do that. And so I say that because if you feel like a man, if you're a man and you feel like, well, easy for you to say, my wife's not letting me do that, check that. And then if you feel like a woman, like, oh, I don't want to submit to my husband, again, go back to what you said. It's not about, oh, I don't want to. It's about, it's a calling.
It's not even just a calling. It's a command.
It's a command from, you're commanded.
Right. And so I feel like I am only really in a position to speak to women, and women can't change their husbands.
Yeah.
You are probably better suited to speak to the men and their level of leadership. But it's one of those things that's just like a circular problem that if you want to sit in that place, you're never going to fix it. So at some point, and I'm going to speak to the women because that's where I'm at. But at some point, somebody has to stop and say, I'm going to start doing this differently. And for a woman, that would mean I'm going to stop this and I'm going to start submitting to my husband.
That's right.
And I'm going to start trusting in his leadership and verbally letting him know that I am trusting in his leadership, and not just verbally letting him know, but then actionably showing him.
Yes.
And then that might inspire him and give him more confidence to lead. And it might take a while. If you've been very, very resistant to submitting to your husband, it might take him a long time before he trusts that you're actually going to do it without complaining. And that might be the bed that you've made that now you've got to lie in, that you've got to actively do this over and over and over again before he trusts you. But somebody has to stop that circular problem.
Yeah. And I think women also have to hopefully give some grace to the husbands, because
they're
not going to make
hard job.
They're not going to make every decision the right way. They're not going to do everything perfectly.
Nope.
They're going to make mistakes, but being gracious enough to sit in those mistakes and say, hey, like he's doing it. Like
right.
he's
and I think
trying.
you have to reframe mistakes in your mind as far as like, we've had half a dozen businesses before this one that didn't pan out. they weren't necessarily mistakes or failures or flops, but they were opportunities where you learned
Yes.
what to do, what not to do, what works, what doesn't work, that got us to a different place eventually.
That's right.
And so your husband might be on that trajectory where he's having to figure out and he's learning. That's not a failure. It's not a mistake.
No.
You just have to make little course corrections as you go. But
Yeah.
if you berate him for the first mistake, he's never going to learn that way.
Yes.
You're not going to yell at your toddler when they start walking and then fall on their butt. You don't yell at them. You
Yes.
encourage them to go again, to try again, because they
Yes.
got to walk eventually.
Yes. Yeah. Man, there's a lot of stuff here. A lot of stuff like going in my head.
What's in your head? Spit it
No,
out.
it's just things that I'm thinking about. But I mean, because you talk about the wife being the helper, and you have helped me so much in life. And I just think about it. I'm like, man, if I didn't have you as a helper in life, I would be somewhere completely different.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so I think women have this unique ability to really put their man, their husband in this great trajectory in life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't even know how much they know, how much power they hold to really shape the husband's destiny and your destiny together as a couple.
Mm-hmm.
Because the more you can speak into your husband, the more that you can believe in your husband, the more that you can, and you said you're feisty.
Mm-hmm.
You are feisty. And I said, hey, I think it's a great thing, because I think as a woman, you have to have a little bit of feistiness, because if you didn't have the feisty, you never would have been able to steer me in a good direction in life, because there's times where you need to call out the bull crap. There's times where what's happening is not acceptable, and you got to be able to say it's not acceptable. There's times where you have to say, like, you need to step it up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you need to do better. And let me help you do better. Like, you say that's feisty, but I think that's required.
It's part of the helping.
It's part of the helping, because if you're helping your husband accomplish his vision, which helps your marriage, you need that.
Yeah. I just think
And-
women, I think it's so important, but I also think women have to be really careful with that, myself included, because I think sometimes you can trick
You
yourself
can do it in the wrong way.
into getting what you want
Yeah.
and not necessarily what your husband needs. Like, you know what I mean?
You can do it in a very wrong way.
Yes.
And I'll give you an example. If you're a woman, you want to know how Haley did it. She did it in a very strategic way, because you were feisty with me, but you never demeaned me. You never said I was less than. You never attacked my character. You never attacked my identity. In fact, you always did it in a way that built me up, where it was like, this is who I know you are.
Mm-hmm.
This is who I know you can be, and your potential is unlimited, but you're not living it. You're not living it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you can be. I know this is who you are. So you spoke an identity over me that I had to live up to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like you do this with our kids. You speak to them in a way of expectations. Like, I expect more from you, and I know you're capable of more. So our kids now take that identity, and mom and dad think I'm worthy of this. So then I'm going to act in accordance with that worthiness.
Yeah. Well, I've
You know?
used this phrase probably a dozen times on this podcast, but people live up to what you expect of them. And I think that's like a core belief of mine. Cause like you're saying,
You did it to me.
It came out there. It came out with our children. Like I really believe that.
Yeah.
And so I think it just came very naturally to me to.
Yeah. And I want to say that because a lot of women might be like, well, how do I do it? I think that's a great way to do it. Like what you did is perfect because I was obviously nowhere near kind of where I am now, but you really helped me in that journey.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
and
feel like
I think that's part of your submission role. Like, I think that's part of like how you looked at the role of I'm going to submit to my husband. I'm going to come alongside him and I'm going to help him like figure out his mission in life and his path in life and his vision in life, which I know is going to help me, but I need to help him get there. And you did it in that way.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Yeah.
Now, where do you want to take this podcast from here? Because like, do you want to go into, we can go in more of the beauties of this hierarchy, but do you want to go into some of the pitfalls that can like occur if you don't follow this? Like, what are your thoughts?
some of the pitfalls that can occur if you don't follow this. Well, I think things get out of order, right? Then you
Yeah.
start to get the woman who's going to live in the very masculine energy, and she's going to be very demanding, and she's going to be very harsh and brash, and you're going to have a man who's got no backbone, who's just like kind of whimpers when his wife says something. It's like nobody wants that man, but that you can create that man by your own behavior.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that's why because there is a little bit of an epidemic. Now, I don't know the research. I can look it up. Where they say men's testosterone levels are at an all-time low, like just overall. Do you think this is attributing to it? Like this type of not living in this hierarchy?
I think it can definitely be a factor. Yeah. You know, we live in this world that for the last couple decades has been screaming about toxic masculinity and all sorts of stupid stuff. That's one of the reasons we got our boys in football as young as we did, is because, you know, the research shows that the earlier you start like high contact sports like football, the more testosterone production there is younger. And
that's interesting.
I felt very, very strongly that like we need more masculine men in the world, not less.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to, you know, like this is something I really want for my boys. This was like most things that we do. This was a very conscious, intentional decision. And I know a lot of parents are like, aren't you worried about concussions? Like what?
Yeah.
You can't put your kid in football. It's so dangerous.
We even talked about this at one time.
We talked about this.
We literally were going to not have him play football.
No.
Like, for a second there, we were because remember we watched this whole concussion movie,
yes.
and then
with Will Smith.
But you realized really quickly, wait, this is a narrative that they're trying to push.
This is a narrative.
Yeah.
Okay, I really believe this. I'm going on a tangent here, but
It's
I
good,
really
though.
believe this was a narrative that they started pushing because they want less masculine men. That feeds.
Yeah. It ruins the whole order of
family
the society.
structure.
Exactly. It
And
ruins
so
the family structure.
when I say they want, I don't mean this like in a weird conspiracy theory way. I mean it in a Satan in his design for the world wants less masculine men,
of course.
and he wants a disordered family.
Yeah.
And
sports is a great place to do it in,
especially football.
Especially men and boys, you know.
And so not only does it produce the testosterone, but it also, especially for boys who don't have a dad in the home, it gets them around other, you know, they're going to have male coaches that are probably pretty freaking masculine if they're coaching football, right? So it gives them a masculine role model. It's just, to me, football is so essential. But where was I going with that?
We're going over the pitfalls of not having this.
Oh,
hierarchy.
you asked if I thought that so I was going to say we have this narrative of toxic masculinity. And so men have really been told to be afraid of their masculine desire to protect and provide and to lead. They've been taught to be afraid of that, which is the worst thing that ever happened to the world, I think. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I think that's, you said that one of the pitfalls. I think that's one of them.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think it ruins the whole hierarchy.
Yeah, it ruins the family structure, which is
the foundation
of society.
No, I think there's just a ton of pitfalls. You have, men stop feeling like men and women stop feeling like women. And when that happens, it blurs the lines. You start blurring the lines. You can see it all over society, right? For a while there, you're starting to wonder, like, what is a man? What is a woman? Like people couldn't even define it.
That's
do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But because of this is the fabric of it. It blurs. You start blending.
But yeah, so we talked about toxic masculinity. So not only was masculinity where we told that that's bad and dangerous and scary, but we were also told that femininity is weak. And you need to be a CEO and you need to get into men's spaces and you can do anything a man can do. And like you said, we lost
women in men's sports.
Right. We lost the edge of man, but we also lost the softness of women. And what we're left is just this boring flat line.
Yes. And because of an improper view of submission, right? Where women are less than. It does not mean they're less than.
It just means they're so different. Where you think of the hard, rough edges of a square is a man. Yeah. The woman is that perfect balance of the soft, like, no, it's just, they're the perfect complement to each other when they're
it's the yin
both
and the
fully
yang.
embraced.
Yes. Yeah, it's like, okay, is a banana better than an apple? No,
Of course not. They're
but
just
they're different.
I don't want a banana in my apple pie. You know?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that is one of the huge dangers of this whole thing is that it starts blurring what a man and a woman truly are.
Yeah, you lose the beauty of what the two bring.
And then once you lose that beauty, marriage declines, people are more frustrated, anxiety goes up because you're like wondering as a man, well, why, I feel like this tension,
Well, and
I'm
then not
trying to
only that,
compete, like you're competing with your
you're
wife.
competing.
Like, oh, I'm going to dominate and no, my wife's going to, it's like, whoa, this energy, right? The masculine energy starts kind of combining.
Right. So now it's like a competitor
It's a
instead
competitor.
of a helpmate. And not only, but then you get people who don't want to get married, don't want to have children because children just mess with their goals and children are just in the way. And I mean, it just messed up everything.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to embracing the softness and the nurturing and the gentleness of being a woman and saying, oh my gosh, what a gift. I get to bring children in the world and I get to nurture them and I get to raise them. And there's nothing weak about that.
Yes. I would agree.
But we've been sold a bill of goods that in order to offer value to the world, you have to be like a man and you have to do what men do. And that's just not true. Femininity offers just as much value to the world as masculinity does.
So this is a good verse right here. 1 Corinthians. This kind of puts it in a nice little nutshell. But I want you to understand that the head of every man is Christ. Mm-hmm. The head of a wife is her husband. And the head of Christ is God. Mm-hmm. Everything has a hierarchy.
Everything has an order. And so, okay, so let's just touch on that really quick because that's the only time a woman is let go of her call to submit is when?
Adultery.
No.
No. When the husband's going to commit sin or in a sinful act.
If the husband is leading you to sin,
yeah.
Now your responsibility is to the Lord, not to your husband at that point. And so
that's right.
You are responsible to say, no, I am not going to do that. But short of sin and not doing what you want is not sin. Short of sin, there's never a time where God says you don't have to submit to your husband. Short of sin.
That's right.
So unless you have another pitfall you want to talk about, are you ready to move on to the beauty of it?
Oh, yeah.
I guess we kind of have talked about the beauty.
Double biceps.
Yes, the beauty in conjunction with the pitfalls because they're kind of opposite sides of the same coin in a lot of ways. But some other beautiful aspects is just, I think that you can leave an example for your children to give them more beautiful marriages as they grow up, but also make them desire marriage. I think a lot of kids who are seeing this masculine energy tension between their parents are like, man, that relationship doesn't appeal to me at all. Like, why would I want to get married? Mm-hmm. So I think you can lead a better example for your children, and then they have something to follow to have a happy marriage also, and give you grandbabies, which we all want that, right?
We all want more grandbabies.
We all want that.
Let's be honest here.
So I think that's one of the beauties of it, and just the more peaceful symbiotic relationship you're going to have with your spouse, and your home is going to be more peaceful, and I think that's part of the beauty too.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I can say personally, as a woman, the confidence and the comfort I have in knowing that I am led and protected and provided for is second to none. I mean, that's one of the beauties of it.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine it another way.
I wouldn't want it another way.
I wouldn't want it another way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, now how does this play out in parenting?
That's an interesting question. I think for us, each parent is going to bring different strengths, right? So there's definitely times with our boys specifically where I've had to talk to you and be like, babe, I need you to handle this situation because this needs like a masculine, heavier hand than I've got. And so knowing when to like tap the other person in, but also at the same time,
you're it.
Yeah. But also knowing like you have a lot of trust in me as a parent. You have a lot of confidence in me as a parent. And that is more so my domain than yours, right? The way the Bible orders it, the man's life is ordered towards the marketplace and the woman's life is ordered toward the home, right? So the children and the home are my domain. And so a lot of the times you will kind of default to me as far as like my opinion maybe weighs a little heavier there. Whereas if I was trying to give you opinion on an investment, you're probably going to weigh your opinion heavier than my own. But with our children, I think you probably weigh mine heavier in a lot of ways, unless there's a situation that you just know needs your hand.
Oh, 100%. Do you remember Miles Monroe?
Yes.
Miles Monroe has a great YouTube video on women.
Yes. We've tagged it before, but I'll tag it again.
Yeah. And I listened to this sermon about 5 years ago, six years ago. And ever since that sermon, I've looked at, honestly, you women differently. And he talks about how women are these incubators that just make everything better. Like they incubate, you stick it in there, and whatever you stick in there just comes out way healthier, way more.
And he says, you give a woman groceries and she'll make you a meal. You give her sperm and she'll make a baby. You give her a house and she'll make you a home. She can take what you give her and make it something beautiful.
Yes. And so when it comes to the home, that is your domain. Like, you'll make it beautiful in some way, regard, because that's what women do. Left to their own devices, it's what they want to nurture. They want to take care of. They want to, help and grow. And so, of course, I would always default to you for that. And then, I guess when it comes back to the headship, though, it's like, okay, well, if there's something that maybe you want or if you're going to make a decision on something in the household, that's a big decision. Again, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about it, right? And then more than likely, we're going to agree on it.
Yeah. And as far as parenting goes, like, our kids know, because I am very, very verbal with it, that dad is the leader in our home. And like, I am in charge of them, but dad's in charge of all of us. And they know that. That's right. Very, very clear to them. And so I don't ever let them speak disrespectfully about you or to you. Like, I will shut that down so fast, because that's just
100%
not going to happen.
Yeah. And, for men out there, I could only imagine, because, as a man, you feel the weight, right? You feel the weight on your shoulders. But with Christ, he takes the weight off. Do you know what I mean? Because in a lot of times, I don't have to carry the burdens, because I can kind of give that up to Christ and just say, God, like, I need you to kind of come in here, intervene, and take the weight off my shoulders and help me kind of move throughout the day and the week. Because if you look at the weight that a man can potentially carry of his family, of finances, of making sure they're going in the right direction, and making sure that he mitigates mistakes that don't ruin, what they're trying to build, that pressure can crack you.
Right. And he's been very faithful to do that for you. But that also doesn't mean that he removes the pressure.
He doesn't remove it.
He's just
He helps
fortified you
Yes.
to withstand the pressure.
He does. And it's like, you don't pray for an easy life.
Right.
You pray to get stronger.
Exactly.
So you can take on more.
Yes.
And that's what Christ does.
But that's the point I want to make to men. Is that the prayer isn't remove the pressure.
No. The prayer should be, I want the pressure. I want more pressure. But the prayer is, to your point, fortify me. Yeah. And that's what Christ does. He just fortifies you, man. Like, it's because he built you for it. This is what you're built for, And so, but with Christ, it's like, I don't know how men can do it without it. I don't know, man. Because sure, man, I would be a mess too. I'd be anxiety ridden.
Yeah.
I'll never forget this. I went to a gun shooting range one time with a gentleman, right? And he owned this range, and I went with my old boss. He took all of our employees, and he had 6 kids at the time. He was building a new business. He was getting into investor partnerships for a new build out that he was going to do with a gun thing. And I was in a car ride with him, and he said, "Hey, look, I told my wife, just one time a month, okay? This is my only time where I can crawl up into the fetal position and just cry."
Oh my gosh.
And he's like, "I get to do it once a month." But his point was, he's like, "Dude, I have so much weight on my shoulders that I just need that one day or 1 hour to just curl up and just let it all out." And then I'm back to being a man. I'm back to it.
Have you ever felt like you had to do that?
I mean, there's times where you feel like, dude, that's, there's just a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And
that's what I think women need to know too, is like, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. You think, no, I want to be the one in charge. I want to be the one making the decisions. Do you really want that kind of pressure? Like, do you really? I don't think women were built for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a
I
different
certainly
type.
wasn't
It's just a
built for
different
that.
type. Now, again, a man could say the same thing because I'm not built for what you do.
No, you're not.
I would probably crawl into the fetal position every day if I was doing what you're
Well,
doing.
and like literally your life has been designed around not having to answer to anybody. Like
Yeah.
submission would be not
Besides you. Yeah, I love the memes where it's like, man, I'm running a $1 billion company. I got employees answering this. I'm on investor meetings. I come home and my wife's like, you got to take out the trash.
take out the trash.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, that's just the reality,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
That's how life goes.
Yeah. But
What
in
were you
your
saying?
in your day-to-day life, there's not anybody that you have to answer to by design besides me and the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you would not fare well in my position, and nor would I in yours.
No, I wouldn't. I'd probably cry every day.
Oh, it's so funny.
Oh, it is funny.
Yeah, but I really
yeah.
I wanted to encourage women that submission's not a dirty word. It's not scary. It really truly is a beautiful gift that you can give to yourself, to your children, to your husband if you just embrace it, lean into it, make it part of your identity.
Yeah.
And it really is a joy and a blessing.
Yeah.
And you make it easy. I'm very thankful for that.
Likewise.
But
Cheers to that. And just know that like God made it this way for a reason. And I think there's a certain level of trust that you just have to have in the process. It's like you might not understand it. You might think it's lame. You might not think it's going to work, but you just got to trust that God made it this way on purpose.
And
that
everything
it's beautiful
in God's design is for our protection and for our benefit. Maybe that's just like where the faith comes in, that you just have like, you may not even really like it all that much.
Yeah.
And you may really wish if you had written the Bible, it would have said something different.
Yeah.
But you didn't write it.
You didn't
and you
write
just have to trust the one who did and do it anyway. And then just really pray that he'll change your heart and that he'll give you a heart like his that desires it. And he will.
He will.
Because
you're going to be like, oh, wow, it works.
Oh, wow.
It actually is.
This is actually really peaceful.
This is actually really great.
Who knew?
Yeah. Wow. I was doing it wrong the whole time. Just had to follow the Bible.
Yep.
But yeah, it's so true.
Yeah. So what would you leave people with on this topic?
What would I leave them
I think
with?
the next episode we do needs to be on the call of leadership for men. We are going to talk about that. But this
Sometimes
episode,
I need to do that too. I mean, look, this is a raw and real podcast, okay? Let's just keep it raw and real. The last week, it's been kind of tough, I feel like, with you and I a little bit. I feel like I've just, I've dropped the ball. We haven't been communicating as well. It's been a little kind of funky this week, all right? And so, but like I bring that up because the call of leadership is you're not going to always get it right. And I feel like this last week, I'm not getting it right. But hey, it is what it is. But guess what? Tomorrow's, you have the opportunity right now to make it better.
Yep.
And so,
and I think that's important for women to know too, that even Richard, who really is an incredible husband, an incredible leader, has built an incredible life, maybe doesn't always get it right.
Never. Yeah. I don't a lot.
And as a wife, you can call it out and say, hey, you kind of screwed this one up, and then shut your mouth and start following again. That's all I need to do.
That's so true. So yeah. So what I want to leave them with is, look, life is a process. This is not going to happen overnight. It's not like, you're not going to always get it right, and it's not going to feel easy. It's going to feel like hard, like everything does. It's going to feel like a struggle. It's not going to make your life perfect, but what it's going to do is it's going to be beautiful. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be beautiful. And you're going to feel it. You're going to be like, wow, this is how marriage should be.
Yeah. Can I touch on one thing you just said though? Because you said it's not going to happen overnight. And I don't necessarily agree with that because I really do think it's just one decision.
The decision happens overnight.
The decision is just one decision. And that doesn't mean you're going to get it right every time. And there's going to have to be a lot of repenting along the way. But the decision is just one decision. And if you sit there and wait until you feel like doing it to do it, you're never going to do it.
Yeah.
But I think it's a muscle that does get easier the more that you do it and the more you realize that you can trust this process, the more you realize it works, it will get easier. But it's just that one decision that starts it, which that is an instant.
Yeah, 100%. Your life, Tony Robbins said that, your life changes in an instant because a decision is instantaneous.
And that's what I always tell my kids. Life's about decisions. You got to make them and you got to stand by them, and then you got to change them when they're wrong.
Yeah. So hopefully we solidified that submission's not a dirty word. It's a beautiful word. And when used correctly, the hierarchy that God set up for marriage, it's a great design.
It works.
It works.
Yep.
And we'll keep preaching it.
Yep. Never stop.
Never stop. Anything else? Like, subscribe, follow,
Yes.
share, all the good stuff with a fellow marriage that you think could use this content. And we don't get too much stuff in social media, I don't think, but it would really be good to know like what people want in terms of content, because we're always thinking of new episodes and stuff. We use ChatGPT. We think about our own marriage. We think about, but what do the viewers want? I don't know.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting.
Tell us what you want.
It'd be great.
All right. Thank
Love
you.
you, baby.